Hello and welcome back to Walk the Cinema podcast. Today is part 5 of our Oscar reviews, and today we're going to be talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I know you're very excited to talk about this one. It's your favorite.
Yeah, this is my favorite movie of all the movies I saw in 2022. We watched it maybe like the second week it was out, pretty early on.
It had a weird release.
Yeah.
We did it before it had like the big wide release when it started getting really successful.
Yeah.
And it wasn't surprising that this got really successful. I think this is A24's highest grossing movie now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you could tell why. It's a lot. I heard people comparing it, the experience of it, to like The Matrix. Which they hadn't experienced anything like this. Right? So it's brand new for a lot of people.
Yeah. I definitely agree. This was like such an experience to have in theaters where, I mean, our movie theater wasn't super packed, but there was a lot more people than I would say normally we find at our movie theater. And just the entire time there was just laughter and just...
It's a movie that's nice to watch in a crowd.
Yeah.
It is funny. I have some problems with it. I'm not, like, in love with the movie like you are. Mm-hmm. But it is, like, constantly funny. It is, like, a pure comedy.
Yeah.
More than a sci-fi or an action movie or whatever other genre. Mm-hmm. Because it's just so constantly trying to make you laugh.
Yeah.
That's what I appreciate the most. Mm-hmm. I get a little let down by the sci-fi parts. But that's just me personally.
Well, to give anybody that hasn't seen it, like, a brief overview of what the movie is, it's about a Chinese-American immigrant woman, played by Michelle Yeoh, who owns a laundromat with her husband, Waymond, and they're being audited by the IRS, which is a big deal.
Right. I mean, it's a family doing their taxes. It's the movie.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Boring.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a very, I
think that's the joke.
Simple premise.
It sets it up as being, like, a boring story about taxes. Like, it's the juxtaposition of the taxes versus the multiverse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is a multiverse type movie, which is kind of in right now.
Yeah. Which is why I think this has a really good leg to stand on for Best Picture. Mm. Because it's a good representation of its time.
Right.
Because the multiverse movies with, like, the Marvel stuff were popular. Mm-hmm. And the Puss in Boots is popular. And there's other, similar movies. But this one I would say is the biggest. Like, the biggest success and I don't know if it's going to forever be the most associated with multiverse or if it's even the most associated now. Mm-hmm. Because I know the Doctor Strange movies have multiverse in the title. Mm. So if you haven't watched either, you're obviously going to associate the one that has it in the title.
Yeah.
But I think this is the most accessible. Mm-hmm. It's a standalone movie that is really funny. It's not family friendly because there's a lot of dildo jokes and that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's not... I mean, if you have teenagers, right, you could watch this as a family. And everyone could enjoy it. I think it's an easy watch. So it could have a case for being forever, the multiverse movie. And that's a good representation of 2022.
Yeah, that's fair. I just really like this movie. I think at its heart... I enjoy this story. It's got, generational trauma, which is also kind of a big thing that I think a lot of movies are kind of focusing on and trying to, heal from that. Because, just in media that is family friendly, you had Encanto that came out at the end of 2021, which dealt with generational trauma. And then you had Turning Red, which is also nominated for... an Oscar that deals with generational trauma. And so, I've seen some people criticize that there's too much focus on generational trauma.
There's too much focus on it.
But I feel like it's such a shared experience for a lot of people.
There's too much focus on it because it's the main theme, though. Like, I get that people want, it to be, just sort of action, maybe. Mm-hmm. But, it's more than that. And there's too much focus on a certain thing, sure, because it's the center of the story. The center of the story isn't really jumping universes. The center of the story is the mother and the daughter.
Well, I'd say it's, the mother's view of her family,
Right. She's the main character.
Yeah. Her name's Evelyn in the movie. I don't think we mentioned that, but it's Evelyn. Her husband is Wayman, and their daughter is named Joy. But, just looking at it from the perspective of, this is the mother's journey in appreciating life in general, I think, is something that really, resonated with me on a lot of different levels, because I think that everybody gets into moments where they feel like their life is kind of, you're not in control of it anymore, which I think is what happens now, because she's very obviously not happy in the beginning of the movie, where she's being audited. Her elderly father is now come to live with them. You find out that he kind of disowned her after she moved to America with Waymond. She finds her husband incredibly annoying with all his little quirks, and
but he's the one that wants to divorce her.
Yeah, he wants to divorce her.
Because she's going through the motions. Mm-hmm. And I feel like she's pretty selfish.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very flawed, but that's the character.
Yeah.
But I think she's really selfish in the beginning, where she just wants her husband to stop because she doesn't like it, and she wants her daughter to stop certain things because she doesn't like him.
Yeah, her daughter is gay, and she's dating a woman.
And it's also that, she doesn't speak Chinese well. Yeah. And multiple things where, doesn't benefit the daughter at all. Mm-hmm. It would only benefit what the mother wants from the daughter.
Yeah. So it's all these different things that I think really make Evelyn a interesting character, because she is so, I think, deeply rooted in reality, and then she gets thrown in in the most ridiculous scenario possible. Mm-hmm. But I really love the story of how she kind of re-falls in love with her husband by seeing all these different versions of him, and realizing that the way that he does things, that she thinks that he's weak because he's not like her, in the sense that he's not going to stress about things. Mm-hmm. He's obviously cares, but he goes about it in such a different way. And while she sees that as weakness, when she gets put into different situations and sees him for who he is, she appreciates him a lot more. And I don't know, that their love story, that it's not even really about that, that's not the main point of the movie, but their little love story throughout the movie just made me feel so wishful. I don't know.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't care at all. I think it's one of the major flaws for me is that I emotionally don't connect to any of it. I don't know. I feel like the movie's funny. The action scenes are really well shot and really well edited, mm-hmm. and really well choreographed. So I care more about that. I think it takes away from the emotion, or maybe the emotion just isn't fully there for me. But it makes me not care for the emotion because I care more about the fighting scene. And I'm not an action movie guy. Most of my favorite movies are emotional and are about relationships and small human connections and that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Where this one, it's the opposite, where I care about the funny moments and the action moments a lot more than I do about actual feelings.
I just disagree. I just feel like I really can connect with these characters, and I think that there's a line towards the end of the movie, kind of, where we find out that, throughout the movie that this great evil that can hop dimensions and universes and is killing all these other Evelyns and just their whole family and like using those worlds to just destroy, turns out to be Joy, Evelyn's daughter. And
well, it's not her daughter from her reality. It's not Joy.
It's
her
in a different universe.
Yeah, in a different universe, so it's a different person.
Yeah. But there's a line at the end of it where the Evelyn in the original universe that we start out is talking to Joy in the original universe, and kind of, I think it goes kind of back and forth between whether it's the Joy that we see as like the antagonist or if it's the Joy in her universe. But she basically is like, you don't call me. All we ever do is like fight. You are getting fat. Like, there are these things that I'm concerned about, and you treat me like garbage. So why on earth would I, if I could go anywhere in the universe, why would I want to spend it with you? But there's something about how much I love you and how much you love me that you sought me out through all the different universes, and why she still wants to be with her, even if she's overwhelmed with like how much is happening all at once, And I just like that. I relate to it a little bit, I guess. And that makes me emotional. I
don't dislike the overlapping story.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't emotionally connect to it. Doesn't mean I don't like it, and I don't think it's essential.
Mm-hmm.
It's what keeps the story moving.
Yeah.
Obviously needs to be there, and I wouldn't really change it just because I don't like it. It's not even that I don't like it. It's just don't connect.
I connect. I feel like I connect so much, and especially watching it, multiple times, I just appreciated it even more because it's kind of like, I don't know, I just feel like Evelyn is such a flawed character. Like she's kind of unlikable in some instances because she's just nagging on her husband even though he's trying to help, and she won't let him do what he knows is correct. Like, he's the one that's actually getting things done, essentially.
Right.
Even though she thinks he's messing everything up. And she kind of treats her daughter badly because she's kind of trying to hide the fact that she's gay. And, it's one of those things that she does kind of grow as a person. And I don't know, I kind of like these types of stories where there was a book that I read a little over a year ago called The Midnight Library, which it was a pretty popular book, so a lot of people might know what it is. But it kind of has the same vibe, except that in this book, the main character commits suicide, or tries to commit suicide, and in like this in-between of her being almost dead, she gets taken to this like liminal space where she can kind of see what the lives of all the other people that she could have been was like. And I feel like that's kind of what this movie achieves, and it does it in a much more satisfying way to me, where she's kind of using those experiences to help her in her life, like her current life. Whereas, like, in this book, it was just kind of to like, view, and then there was no, like, real consequence to it. But that's, like, stuff that I like. It's, like, the concepts that are interesting to me.
It's just not a movie that brings passion out of me.
Hmm.
Like, it's clearly getting out of you. I think it's just fun, funny, really well shot. Really well edited. We'll get to the nominations because these are in it, and I guess I'll talk more about it.
I just feel like this is a perfect movie for me, like me personally.
Yeah,
not necessarily that it's a perfect movie, that it has no flaws, but it's a perfect movie for me where it does have this kind of emotional connection that I can get behind. It makes me laugh. I'm not completely devastated by the end of it. Like, it makes me want to watch it again. Like, for example, I really like Cold War. This Polish movie that came out in 2018.
Lovely film.
Yes, it's a lovely film. I love it. But it makes me, like, physically unwell because of how devastated I feel at the end of it. So it's not like a movie that I want to watch again, but this movie makes me want to watch it multiple times.
Right.
And I just remember there's just so many funny moments that
there are, yeah. I don't disagree with that at all. And I see why it's like your type of movie. Yeah. But I can't get over the fact that it feels like it's made to be a blockbuster. And it feels like a lot of the decisions are made by the directors as the crowds are going to love it more than we're going to love it as the directors. Which is the wrong way of doing things, in my opinion. Even if it works out, doesn't mean the intention of it isn't wrong. Because you shouldn't be doing this thinking about what the crowd's going to feel. You should be doing it because it's your vision. And I feel like they stuff so many things that I feel like crowd pleasers at the end of the day. That it kind of feels like a big blockbuster movie, even though it's not really.
I mean, I guess I kind of understand what you're getting at, but I mean, I don't really get the vibe, like that vibe completely. Or at least it doesn't, like, put me off of it in any type of way. I really like the scene where they do the 2001: A Space Odyssey.
No, that's hilarious, yeah. with the long fingers.
With the hot dog hands. Yeah. Hot dog fingers.
Yeah, but that's another thing that A24 has been marketing heavily. You can, like, buy hot dog hands on their website, or maybe they're sold out, but you could buy googly eyes, you could buy a bunch of things, and it feels like they're commercializing it so much that it plays to the blockbuster thing I said.
I mean, I think that it's
well, they gotta do it, right? They gotta make their money.
That's what
I'm not saying they shouldn't do it.
I'm saying it, like, doesn't...
It doesn't affect the movie, right? The movie's made. It doesn't affect the quality of the movie or the enjoyment, or at least it shouldn't. I know a lot of people kind of tend to not like things when they get big.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a natural reaction for certain people. But that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that it kind of feels like that was the plan all along, to make it as commercially viable as possible.
I mean, maybe.
Which also, some people are going to be thinking right now as you hear me say this, like, of course you got to make money with a movie. That's the only reason you'd put out a movie as a studio or as a movie maker, is to make a profit on it. But that's not true. For a studio, maybe. As a movie maker, you should make a movie that's your vision and that's what you want to do.
I feel like that's a very romanticized way.
Yeah, but it's the only way of making a good movie. You can't make a good movie that's not something you want to do. You can't force it.
Well, yeah, but I think that there's still, like, a line between making something that you want to make and then also trying to make money off of that. You know? Like, I think that there are very few times where a director or, you know, producer, cinematographer, whatever, like someone that's making a movie is making a movie just for the pure enjoyment and has no expectation of making any type of money back on their investment. And they can't, because they're not going to be able to get funding for the next one. You know?
Well, but if you look at, like, streaming websites like Mubi, right? Which is one of my personal favorites. Most of the movies you're going to watch there, they know they're not going to make shit on it. They're not going to make a cent on those movies. They're definitely not going to profit on them. Not in any big way, but they still make them. So it's not true. You're thinking of, like, Hollywood studio systems that only survive on profit because of the investors. And that's, like, why we're watching Netflix downfall. Because they're so worried about the investors and pleasing the investors with numbers that they're screwing over everyone else.
I still think that it's, like, still a romanticized way to look at movie making.
I mean, sure. Clearly, right?
Yeah.
Not blaming the Daniels for it, but
right.
A lot of other people. Jon Favreau.
It's a little mean. I don't know. There's just so many other parts about this movie that I like. I like the costumes. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, let's talk about the nominations, because I guess they'll cross over with the things we like about it.
Yeah. Probably.
There's 11 of them.
Yeah, I think this movie has the most, I believe, at 11.
Which makes sense if you're just looking at it as a number, but let's look at it individually. Original screenplay makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. I think that, I think that I know you probably would disagree, but I really do like the screenplay. I think it's
disagree.
I think it's pretty tight, I think it does what it wants to do.
I think it's overstuffed sometimes. And I know for sure they filmed a lot more than what they put in the movie.
Yeah.
So there's probably even more things they had to cut out because it was so stuffed already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't give you a moment to breathe, which the first time watching it in theaters was positive because we just kept laughing and the crowd was laughing. Watching it at home, sometimes I do wish I had more time to breathe. But I
think I could still watch like a 4-hour cut of this movie and be perfectly happy.
I probably couldn't, but I do like the script just fine. It got original score.
I did try to listen to the score a little bit more this time, and
there's better ones in my opinion.
There are better ones. I can't really say much about it. Not that I don't think it I don't really think it adds or takes away from it, to be honest.
So they got original song, which every year, I don't know what the song is, but I feel like I say that every time there's an original song nomination.
Valid.
Because I don't pay attention to that. Did you?
Not really.
Okay, it's for a song. This Is a Life.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's okay. Achievement in directing for the Daniels.
Yeah, the Daniels.
Dan Kwan and Daniel
Scheinert,
which is someone that directed a movie I actually really liked and I think I hold close to my heart than this, which is Dick Long.
Yeah.
The Death of Dick Long. Even though that's really lowbrow, I just think it's hilarious. I like that one. I see why they're obviously nominated. Their vision is apparent.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And I don't think that, as much as I said it, that it felt like a blockbuster, I don't think they threw too many things just to be a crowd pleaser, but I do think
there's a few
they're
things
peppered in there. But they still did a good job.
Yeah. I think they created a memorable experience, in my opinion.
Leading role, actress in the leading role for Michelle Yeoh. Honestly, I feel like she's a little uneven. There's only really one performance I think is really good in this, and it's not hers, but I'm not mad at it. And even if she wins, I'm not mad at it.
I liked it. I think, like I said, I really enjoy, even though she's such, like I said, even though she's such a flawed character, I really enjoy spending,
Well, it's not the character. We're talking about the acting here.
Yeah, but the acting is the character. That's what I'm saying. But she makes the character.
I think she's uneven in the dramatic scenes in comparison to the comedic scenes, but that's my opinion. She's one of the favorites for that award, I would assume. And then it got supporting actress for Stephanie Sue, maybe? I'm going to be butchering names here. She's the one I really, really like.
Yeah, she's really good in this
She's really good in this.
I think she portrays because she's the same character, but there's different facets to the character. So
she's seamless. That's the
you have Joy that's our character that we see with our original Evelyn, and she's kind of in this depression state, and she does that really well. And then she has the evil Joy, and she's cocky and just doesn't care anymore because she is experiencing everything all the time.
I think it's hard for me to even decide if she's better as the villain or better as the daughter.
Yeah.
Because she's so good at both.
Yeah.
But then another supporting actress, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. I don't think her performance is blow away spectacular, but I do like Deidre as a character. Because it's also, you see her as, she's just the IRS agent, but then in alternate universes, she's Evelyn's wife, partner,
Again, I think she's a little uneven. Especially in action stuff. I really don't really buy her when she's being mean or whatever. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I think that is just you.
That's fine. It could be just me. And then another acting performance for supporting actor, Ke Will Kwan. He hasn't acted in like 20 years.
Yeah, he was in the Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Movie.
That was a while ago, but like
yeah, and it's nice to hear his story, I think, where he felt like, Hollywood just wasn't hiring him. Yeah. And he thought his dream of being an actor was over.
I mean, even this movie, he realistically wouldn't have gotten if Jackie Chan said yes.
Maybe.
Jackie Chan was supposed to be the lead. He was supposed to be Evelyn.
Yeah, yeah.
But they switched it out and then gave his name role to him. Again, it's a little uneven.
I disagree. I really like him. I think that he also kind of flips pretty seamlessly, in my opinion.
Then we got another acting nomination for Best Supporting Actor for Ke Young Kwan, which is someone that was gone for a while, like 20 years. He was off of Hollywood.
Yeah, because he just wasn't being hired at the time. I know you don't like his performance
I didn't say that. I just think he's uneven as some of the other characters.
I disagree. I think that he's good, and I really enjoy seeing the action sequences with him when he is trying to explain what's going on.
See, I don't like... I think those are too... They explain too much, but that's not on the actor. But I think he's funnier in like the scenes that aren't action, which is a problem because the action scenes are supposed to be the funnier ones. And I think he's funnier as an actor when he's not in an action scene. But I'm glad he's nominated. Good for him. Achievement in costume design. You really liked it. I think everyone likes it, even if you don't like the movie. The costumes are fun.
Yeah, the costumes are fun, and I know a lot of people were not necessarily upset, just a little bit, like, surprised that it didn't get the hair and makeup styling as well, just with, like, the different looks that Joy goes through.
I think if it got that, I feel like at that point it's just piling on nominations.
I mean, yeah.
Because I don't think it's necessarily outstanding, and he wouldn't stand a chance at winning comparing to the nominees. And I think the costumes are a lot more impactful. She does go through, like... I saw some behind-the-scenes stuff of the makeup they did on the Joy character. How they moved their hair on their face and that type of thing. And it is cool. But I think there's so much going on in the movie that most people are not going to notice that.
Yeah.
So as cool as it is, it's kind of insignificant in the grand scheme. But it's still important. I don't know. It's hard to boil down why you should get this award, for how good it is or how important it is or how much it affects the movie. Because like for Elvis, right? Obviously it affects it a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you had bad makeup and hairstyle, Elvis would be even worse. But if this movie had bad makeup and hairstyle, you wouldn't necessarily notice or care.
Yeah.
One last nomination before Best Picture is film editing, which I think is great.
Yeah, I think that this is really good at its editing. Like
it's really good at its editing.
Like obviously there are some edits that you see that are they're very purposeful and you realize what it's doing, but I feel like even the edits that you don't necessarily like see or take notice of are like really well done.
I think they filmed it all, or at least all the action perhaps, in high resolution so they could manipulate the speed.
Yeah.
In editing. And that was a really nice touch. I think the editing's really good.
Yeah.
I also think it could have gotten cinematography. Which it didn't. But it could have. And I'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
But then it also obviously got Best Picture.
Yeah.
Which is why we're covering it.
And I'm really happy about that.
It makes a lot of sense.
I will have like more thoughts on it, for our predictions, but I'm pleasantly surprised that it still maintained the hype, because I remember thinking like that, like even when we saw it in March or April, whenever it was, that was fantastic. Like I was loving life. And I was like, there's no way that this movie, to me, is going to be able to maintain that kind of like buzz around it. And I was really pleasantly surprised when I knew it was going to be.
I think it got a lot of hate at its peak, like coming off of theaters. I think Film Twitter turned on it the same way it turned on the Joker a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter for real life or anything really.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen. And if you like the movie, you like it. If you hate it, you hate it, and that's fine. I like it just fine. I actually really like it, actually.
Yeah.
I don't love it, though.
I gave it a 10 out of 10. If anyone was curious.
I gave it an 8. It's not close to a 9, but it's not close to a 7. I think it did most things really well, and it's really funny. And the action is actually really captivating. And the main storyline is there. Even if I don't connect to it, I don't think it's bad. And it's definitely there. And then the technical aspects are just really good at points. And I think this is a great nomination for Best Picture. It stands out. And if it wins, it's going to be such a standout win in comparison to literally 99% of the other winners. Well, there's not 100, but 95% of the other winners. I think this is going to stand out from it.
Yeah.
There's maybe 1 or 2 other movies that could stand out as being like super unique. And this would be one of them. But just the nomination, I think, is really impactful here. And the race is really tight for Best Picture, so...
Yeah.
We'll discuss more of that in the last episode of the series.
But we're halfway done at this point, so don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, and stay tuned for the other half of our Oscar coverage.